Hey guys, this is Derek Duplessis, host of Purpose Rockstar. It's a podcast where we interview people who found purpose in their career in all kinds of fields. Today's interview is with Sara Seager. Not only is she a good friend, but she's also one of the most well-known astrophysicists in the world. You'll see her all over the place in Ancient Aliens or on the Star Trek DVD. She's everywhere. But in this interview, you actually get to understand the person behind all of the science. And I think you really will enjoy this.
It sounds like, pardon the pun, you're on some big rocket ship to success. Take us to a nadir, a real low point where you had to overcome an obstacle or a failure.
Wait, I will do that. Can you ask me that question again a minute? Because I want to go back to one other thing about success.
Go ahead.
There's one other really critical element to success that was part of my story, and it's part of all my students and postdocs and people I train. It's now part of their story. And that is how to overcome your own internal limitations. As a child, no one believes me when I tell them this, but I was like the wimpiest kid ever. I cried all the time, like at anything. And I think my dad took one look at me and he knew I would never survive in the real world. He's not alive now, so I can't ask him what he was thinking. But he basically trained me in a way to make me I think inside I was really tough. And he helped me develop that toughness and that ability to kind of withstand the harshness of the real world. And that was my weakness. But one thing I've seen in all the people I know, it doesn't matter how good you are at something or how much you love doing that thing, we're all really limited by our own internal problems. And you have to be brave and harsh with yourself and try to recognize what those limitations are and then work to overcome them. And I'll just give you one simple example about one of my mentees who is afraid of authority. That's kind of a problem because most people, when you're starting out, are more authoritative. They're older or they have some job or they're not, you can't be afraid of authority to move forward. And so we did a series of exercises to help her overcome that. And I really think critical to success is just, acknowledging what your limitations are and if any of them can be fixed to try to improve them.
Okay. And so take us through that specific moment, that low point or the nadir where you really had to overcome the obstacle.
Okay, well, the lowest point of my life was when my husband at the time got diagnosed as being terminally ill. To be very successful in the world, you really, let me think. At the time, I really had it all. I had my dream husband, I had my dream house, I had my dream kids. Like, everything was going so well for me. But I had a lot of balls in the air. I was juggling a lot of balls. Like, it sort of reminds me a bit of the airports. You know how the flights are always going, but if one thing goes wrong, like there's a storm in Chicago, the whole system gets messed up.
I know.
Kind of like that. It was like overplanned, overcommitted, but I had a great life. And my then husband was basically a stay-at-home dad. He did everything on the home front, enabling me to have the kids and have my career where I was moving forward rapidly and investing a lot of time and energy in my career. So he got diagnosed with terminally ill, and I just realized I was screwed because not only was I going to lose, at the time, the best friend I'd ever had, but how was I going to do it all by myself? Like, it's a lot. And it's not like I had set out to be a single mom. It just ended up happening. So the lowest point in my life was probably that 2 to 3 year period when he got sick and when he faltered and when I had to start learning how to do everything for myself.
Well, thanks for sharing that. It's not easy. I know it's just a couple years ago, so I really appreciate that.
There's more to that interview? Yeah, more. And you can find all of it at purposerockstar.com. Link is right there. Yeah, right there. Yeah, right there. So it's really, really awesome that you can go to purposerockstar.com. If you're one of those on-the-go Apple people, you can check it out on iTunes. There's the link. And for my non-Apple people, I'm going to make sure there's a link on Stitcher somewhere next to me. So you got iTunes, Stitcher, and purposerockstar.com. Tell your friends, tell your family. We're on Twitter and Facebook, and somehow we'll be on LinkedIn. I don't know. But at least we'll be on Twitter and Facebook. And one final favor. Pursue your purpose. It needs you.
we know that every single star in our Milky Way galaxy should have at least one planet. And there's 100 billion stars in our galaxy. And you know what? We think there's 100 billion galaxies.